Almost 15 minutes in front of the hour of 8 o'clock. Good morning, Troy Coverdale with you. Brandon Peoples alongside as KMAN's Morning News continues, and we're joined on the phone by 1st District Congressman Tracy Mann as he's joining us for a few minutes of time from D.C. It's quite the stretch run that is in front of you and other members of Congress, Representative Mann, here as you get into this final month, essentially, of the session coming off the August break.
Yeah, Troy, Brandon, good to talk to you both. A lot going on in D.C. I appreciate the stretch run analogy as we think about our Chiefs, that kick it off tomorrow night in Brazil. And then, of course, K-State's big game against Army. Boy, we need another win to say the least. We also, need to continue to get some wins here in Congress as well. Really glad we got the One Big Beautiful Bill passed and signed into law. In many ways, it's the working family tax cuts bill, very, very important for the tax policy of working people in Kansas and throughout the country. Now that that's done, turning attention to government funding. The fiscal year ends here at the end of this month, and so it's all hands on deck as we begin to work on that and a host of other priorities here as we head towards the end of the year.
What is the biggest challenge now in trying to put together the spending bills potentially for next year?
Yeah, well, it's reaching agreement on what those levels should be and then what the specific priorities within those are. And so, whenever you're talking about money, and this is true, I think with individual families, businesses, local government, state government, federal government, it can be very contentious. My highest priority is let's steward taxpayer dollars well. Let's make sure that we are spending money on things that common sense Kansas would prioritize, and that we're not spending money on things that we shouldn't be. Very aware of the fact that we're $36 trillion in debt, and have got to rein in our federal spending.
Does it become a tougher challenge to determine those spending levels given the recent rescission bill that is being pushed by the president?
I'm not sure. Congress appropriates money, and then Congress is also able to rescind or reduce monies that have been allocated. I think that's a good thing. You think about a family that starts the year or starts a month thinking, hey, we're going to spend money on something, and then you get to realizing priorities change, or maybe we shouldn't be doing that. And so, one rescission bill has passed so far this year. There's talk about some more, but the biggest focus by far is on what does government funding look like starting October 1, which is the start of the next federal fiscal year.
One of the things that also has drawn a lot of attention, and especially did yesterday, is that move to get the discharge petition signed on Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey's bill that would essentially release the Epstein files. And it's been a drumbeat, really, for the past few months on Epstein-related discussions on Capitol Hill. Are you going to sign on to that discharge petition, or are you going to hold back from that?
Well, there's the discharge petition, but then also, and something developed yesterday, was legislation we passed, and I proudly voted for it, that actually goes farther than what the discharge petition would do so far as releasing documents, files, and providing transparency. So that's really the focus. So the discharge petition that's getting a lot of talk, there's actually something that we passed that does more than it even would do. And so I feel really good about the vote I took yesterday to do that. We must be transparent. We also have to balance the confidentiality and the rights of the victims. We can't forget that many of the victims, were minors at the time, and you can't just release files. First off, a lot of them have been sealed by the courts, and so the federal government's not able to release them. Secondly, to just release things that aren't redacted, if we expose the names of innocent victims, really not right to do that to them after all they've been through. 32,000 documents were released a couple nights ago, and there'll be more to come with what we passed yesterday.
Is this one of the strangest issues that you have dealt with when in Congress?
Boy, it's hard to categorize degrees of strangeness, in Washington D.C. these days.
Sure.
But hey, I understand and agree wholeheartedly with those that are for transparency. I appreciate, President Donald Trump's the most transparent president I've seen in my lifetime. Appreciate the administration's transparencies, not just here, but on a whole bunch of other issues. But we also have to protect the innocent victims as well, and the balance therein is what we're focused on.
One other bit of controversy that has its attention, or has most of the attention today on the news front, is HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to be speaking to a Senate committee here very shortly. What are your thoughts on what he has done since taking over as the Health and Human Services leader?
Yeah, well, I'm interested to hear what he has to say today. He got appointed by duly elected president and confirmed by the Senate. Many of the things that he is doing is what he said he was going to do. This effort to make sure America is healthy. I think it's important conversations that we're having as regards to how that impacts agriculture. Let's make sure. My big thing is let's make sure we use sound science. Our food supply is safe, proven to be safe. The farming practice we have, let's make sure that continues. But we'll wait and see what Secretary Kennedy has to say here later today.
You coming into town for Saturday's game with Army?
You know what? No, because the state fair is also on Saturday,
yes.
And so we're have a full day of activities at the state fair. I timed it out to see if I could leave some of my commitments there and make it to the game on time. I don't think that I can, unfortunately, but we'll be loudly rooting from home, and really fun to welcome Army, to the Bill, really, given Fort Riley and all the history that the whole community has. It's a really exciting day. Not just for K-State, but for the entire region and the Kansas community.
Yeah, the state fair as well as college football, and we finally get high school football kicked off tomorrow night. It's a fun time of the year in September. There's no doubt about that.
And it feels like fall.
Yeah,
right? I mean,
exactly.
That's fun as well. So my favorite time of the year. Go Cats, and full steam ahead.
Congressman, thank you for a few minutes of your time this morning.